All right, 33 and 34 are hard questions in a hard passage. This is not going to be fun. And this is exactly why I don't read the passages. I know going into something like this that I'm not going to understand all of what I'm reading. And there are going to be times where I'm just going to get frustrated by how difficult the language is, and I'm going to lose my train of thought. Or even I'm just going to get bored reading it because I can't understand it. And what I'll end up doing is wasting 5 minutes reading something that I take very little from. So I'd rather save those 5 minutes and struggle on a couple of hard questions instead of worrying about the whole passage and then still struggling on the questions anyway. So the no reading strategy is designed because of passages like this one where it's just really tough to get through. But if we have a good process, we can still navigate this evidence pair here. Remember, the QLC method is meant to keep us organized even when the passage is trying to just derail our brains in all sorts of ways. One other thing we can use is the chronology rule, because I'll take anything I can get. So if I look at these two, I would love to be able to narrow those line references down a little bit. So if I go to the next question, number 35, I see that they're directing me to line 24. So line 24 would mean that everything before that is more likely to be the correct line reference, but also that everything after it is unlikely to be correct. Now, we've seen once before on this SAT that the chronology rule can be broken, and they might break it here. But if I have no clue what's going on, at the very least, it's better for me to guess something like choices A and B instead of C and D, because the odds are better that the chronology rule is being followed and that those line references are right because they're in the right order. So look, the best case scenario is we read this and we understand it, but these little things can just increase your odds of picking up points even when you're totally confused. So let's dive in though and try to confirm the chronology rule. Let's see if we can prove that that's true here. So I want to make sure I know what I'm looking for, so I read the question first. In passage 1, Lincoln contends that breaking the law has which consequence? So I'm looking for something about breaking the law and that there's a consequence of that. Okay, so let's go to 9 through 12. Right here, choice A. Let every man remember that to violate the law is to trample on the blood of his father and to tear the character of his own and his children's liberty. Wow, pretty intense. So I kind of get it. He's saying to violate the law, so he's talking about breaking the law, and the rest of it is kind of a little dramatic, but he's saying it's bad. So okay, I would keep that choice. That seems reasonable, so bad. 20 to 23. Choice B. And let the old and the young, the rich and the poor, the grave and the gay, of all sexes and tongues and colors and conditions, sacrifice unceasingly upon its altars. Okay, well, I don't know what they're talking about. This "its" is bothering me. I don't really know what that's referring to. I'd love to know. So this is a rare example where I would read backwards and try to understand some of the lines that came before these line references. Remember, the +1 sentence rule really only applies when we have a line reference in the question itself. When it's these evidence line references, we can usually just stick to what we're told. The exception is this, where there's some pronoun or mystery something that I'd love to really understand better. So I'm going to look back quickly, and okay, he's talking about it a lot. It, so what is he talking about? Oh, here it is. Reverence for the law. Well, reverence is a good thing. That means respect. So he's not talking about breaking the law here. He's talking about following the law. So this seems wrong to me. This is the opposite of what I was looking for. So maybe I eliminate it. If you're a little confused, you could always keep it in and kind of see what happens as you go through the question. But let's look at C and D just to play it safe. 33 to 35, right here. If such arise, let proper legal provisions be made for them with the least possible delay, but till then, let them, if not too intolerable, be borne with. So the them, again, what are we talking about? We're looking backwards, bad laws. So he's saying, again, the opposite. He's saying bad laws should be followed, be borne with. It's not breaking the law. It's saying the opposite. We need it to be about breaking the law. So, no good. 36 to 37. There is no grievance that is a fit object of redress by mob law. Okay, great. Again, he's not talking about anything. This is not about laws. It's not about consequences. This is just a random thing. So I'd actually feel pretty good now about choice A. I didn't really understand it 100%, but I understood the most important piece, that it's about violating the law, and that in terms of a connotation, I know something negative is going on here, that there's a bad consequence of breaking the law. So now I'd go to the answer choices in number 33 and try to match that idea up and see what I can find. So 33, it slows the repeal of bad laws. Well, I don't remember reading anything about repealing laws here. They're talking about the blood of the father and all that mumbo jumbo, so that doesn't seem like it's about repealing anything, so that doesn't work. It undermines and repudiates the nation's values. Well, maybe repudiate is one of those words that we just don't know the meaning of. That's fine. But remember how the SAT structures things. A lot of times they repeat themselves. And so undermine, hopefully we know that word, that means to weaken or to attack. And it's a bad thing. So repudiate is probably also a bad thing. And we know that this kind of works with what we're reading. It undermines the nation's values. That would be a bad consequence of breaking the law. So I would leave that one. Choice C, it leads slowly but inexorably to rule by the mob. Well, here they're trying to match me with that other line reference about the mob that I crossed out. But I don't remember reading this either. It leads slowly but inexorably to rule by the mob. I don't remember anything about speed. Inexorably is probably one of those hard words we don't know, but it comes up often enough that you should know it. Inexorably means inevitably. Something is certain to happen. So certainty is a strong idea. It's one that I would be nervous of. You might leave this choice in because you don't understand it, but it's got a lot of red flags here for me, so I don't like it that much. Finally, choice D, it creates divisions between social groups. I'm pretty confident in that. Social groups were not talked about at all, so gone. And then, yeah, I'd pick B here, mostly because I know that it kind of works, and that's good enough for me. I have nothing really suggesting that C is right. I mostly just kept it because I didn't understand it. So that's okay. We pick the thing that has the most connections. And especially with these double questions, these evidence pairs, we need to find those connections. All three pieces need to be in a line. The question, the line reference, and the choice all kind of need to match up. So we know that there's a bad consequence. He's talking about trampling on the blood of his father, tear the character of his own, and his children's liberty. So he's talking very big picture. The consequence of breaking the law is it's bad for your ancestors, your father, who presumably fought in the revolution, and your children, whose liberty would be at jeopardy. So that matches with it undermines the nation's values. And repudiate is to reject. So trampling on the blood of your father, I guess, is rejecting your father. Don't do that. So yeah, I'm not 100% confident in this match, but I'm confident enough to move on, and that's all we need.